And with that, let's run another poll around your integration solutions that you're using today. Take a few seconds here to give everyone an opportunity to provide their input. Let us know where you're at. Are you building these? Are you building integrations directly right now via APIs, using, like, say, a dedicated internal team or consultants? Are you leveraging, native or point-to-point integrations that sort of come with the applications you're using, or are you leveraging an integration platform such as an iPass or what used to be called middleware, for example? Okay, well, let's take a look at the results. Awesome. Okay, this looks like a little bit spread across everything here, which makes sense with most people leveraging native or point-to-point integrations, and that's what we commonly see, and that's often the starting point. Those are the easy tools to grab, and we'll talk about how those give a little insight into pros and cons of that approach and potentially an alternative. So we need to move beyond just the core ERP as you mature as a business. You start there with that core ERP, modern ERP, and once you have that structure in place, you're going to realize that you have a more complex digital landscape. Because even if you're not directly adding systems at first, you're adding sales channels. If you're an order to cash product-based business, you're going to maybe start with a single storefront, but to expand others, you're going to open up other marketplaces. You have supply chain logistics providers, 3PLs, that you're going to need to integrate into. You're going to have to get customer visibility. This landscape of processes and systems gets much more complicated. And if you don't move forward with a good strategy, and particularly where people often start is using those point-to-point integrations to connect these, and kind of using what's out of the box. But those typically, they may work at first when your needs are simple, but as you grow and your business gets more complex, you now have integration spread across your entire constellation of applications, and you have knowing what data was moved successfully, what wasn't. It becomes very, very hard. And this ends up being reflected both in the customer experience and actually in the employee experience. It's a drain on the customer's experience because it can feel very disjointed to them. They should not feel like you're using multiple applications, but that you want the customer to feel like there's one system and one experience created for them. And conversely, that's really important for your employees as well. The more that they're bouncing between systems or having to chase down data, the more that's a drag on their productivity, and ultimately it takes them away from doing higher value work and leads to you're getting a lower return on your investment, but you're also this becomes a retention problem as well, and employee satisfaction when they're resolving data problems and not providing higher value. And we see that impacting businesses in some major ways. And so by leveraging technology to standardize automation and take a centralized approach, knowing that you're going to be moving towards more and more automation of which the foundation is integration in the future, realizing that and setting yourself up for that future growth by picking the correct platform. And so what we view this as the correct platform is an integration platform as a service. And none of us need another technology acronym in our life, but that is an iPass, in other words, is a modern tool for connecting those businesses and correcting those business systems and creating a single system across your organization. And versus having point-to-point tools or custom integrations or a mishmash of everything, you're going to get a much higher level of guaranteed data delivery. You're going to increase your data governance and compliance, which is the requirements there are rapidly increasing, as well as you're going to get a single pane of glass monitoring and management through a single source for how your data is moving. And that in turn makes your error management, your recovery process much simpler. But with that, you also want to make sure you're using a modern application, just like your ERP, that has a UI that's accessible by business users, not just developers, that also has pre-built connectors and automations that can accelerate the process along the way. If we look at the digital transformation journey for organizations as you move in this direction, we see basically a stair-step model that organizations go through. And what's really interesting is that no one is really sort of squarely in one or the other. What we often see is parts of an organization might be ad hoc, but other ones are moving, developing, or they've actually centralized within IT some of their automation and integration, but not others. And so that's very typical to be sort of spread out here, regardless of size. And I see that especially within sometimes Fortune 500 companies. So regardless of your size, you're going to be somewhere on this journey. But the really important thing here is to realize the value of investing in a purposeful plan and strategy and leveraging the right platforms, the value that will get you. And when you break through from beyond just a centralized approach, and with centralized, that's something where you would maybe have your IT team managing, owning all the integrations, but then you transition over, you break out of centralized IT. You now have what we call federated development and automation and integration, where centralized IT provides oversight and templates and guidance, and they might manage your mission critical key transactional integrations, but they're allowing other departments to participate, manage, and often build their own. An example would be handing off the capability to build integration, say, to the marketing ops team. And now the marketing team, under guidance, is now building out their own automations, and they ultimately understand that part of the business and the processes better, and they're going to do it. And if you pick the right tool, one that's doesn't require a developer to be successful using, you're gonna be able to leverage this empowered approach for federated development, and that rapidly accelerates your digital transformation and dramatically brings down your cost. And this, what we see here from a digital transformation stair step, is very similar to what I know that Saran and the NetSuite Oracle team sees with their customers as well. Saran, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we internally call it the Sweet Success Stairway, but the concept is essentially the same. Like, we have worked with like thousands and thousands of customers across multiple industries, and we onboard customers in different paths within this stairway. Like, some of them are much more mature than others, depending on where they see themselves with this digital transformation. We can place them appropriately on this stairway. And the aim is to get a customer to move from the left to the right. So in essence, this kind of a methodology helps us mature our customers based on the leading practices that we have collected over the 25 plus years.
Excellent. Thank you. And this leads us to a critical step in this process as you embark on this journey. And that's, no matter where you are, whether you've maybe adopted a modern ERP like NetSuite already, or you're looking to take the next step and start there and choose that, you're having a roadmap for where you're going as a business, starting with those business goals, and then moving down through your systems and processes will give you a much higher likelihood of success. And what we've seen here is that there are some recommendations, some commonalities to the successful approaches that we've seen companies take. Again, starting with that, identifying the top level business goals and initiatives, and always making sure that your business systems efforts and your automation efforts are always tying back to this. You should always be able to tie them back up to It might be a revenue initiative, a revenue target, or it might be something. Sometimes it's a goal driven by finance to increase your time to close. Go back, and your automation initiatives should be directly impacting these. Second, map out your business processes. This is one, particularly around ERP implementation, that I see impacting companies or causing the most problems a lot of times, especially a company that's been around a few years, might have sort of organically grown. And now you do things a certain way. And when you're implementing a new ERP or you're embarking on a major digital transformation initiative, this is your opportunity to sort of shed the business processes that aren't standard, that aren't best practices, that aren't adding value. Adopt best practices. And that's one of the great things about NetSuite and their Suite Success methodology, is that it has that built in to that. It really takes that approach to businesses, but also leveraging the flexibility, because you are very likely to have business processes that are unique to your business in some way. Those are competitive advantages for you, and it's how you differentiate in the market. So make sure you understand those and map those ones in particular out, so you know the value of those, and ask the question, we do this differently. Does this help us, or does this, or does it not really provide any value? And if you can resoundingly say yes, then you map, especially those you map out, and then you leverage the extensibility and the customization ability of the plot of both your ERP and your other systems to accommodate that. And that's, again, we're back to flexibility and agility. Thirdly, define now that you've got your business processes mapped out and you know what's important and what's not from your business processes, use that to define your system roadmap. What systems are unique? What are you seeing you need to customize based on your business processes? Where can you move to best of breed? Where can you maybe eliminate systems and just leverage your core ERP, for example, and using that to prioritize your system initiatives. And the fourth, this is a big one, is make sure that you're focusing on time to value. It's easy to get pulled into a project that sort of extends forever, and it feels like you're trying to boil the ocean. But the reality is there's always quick wins you can do, whether this is top down or often a grassroots, very often a bottom up initiative within an organization to digitally transform. You can pick out small wins that will add value, and they'll help build momentum towards the project. And what we see is this often acting like just this concept of building momentum that pulls in other departments. Other departments will see the success in one area and say, hey, I have some stuff I'd like to automate too. And all of a sudden you see the organization as a whole shifting their mindset and pushing forward. And if you pick some things that have that immediate bottom of the line impact, focus on those and get those quick wins, you'll get more and more support across the organization.